Why hello everybody, it's Spencer here, also known as Lego Do 11. In today's video, this is my official John Wick 4 Chapter 4 spoiler review. So without further ado, let's discuss. Okay, so first and foremost, a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. Do have my list of notes here that I did take down out of the movie afterwards. Saw this yesterday, March 25th. The official, let's say, it comes out March 24th, but there are Thursday showings, so technically this is like the third day it's been out. I saw it the third day. And I'm reviewing it now. Video is being uploaded on Wednesday, so welcome guys if you're the first to watch this. Thank you so much. And this is a movie I've been anticipating for a while, since they announced it last year, or not announced it, but since the trailers have come out. I've been hyped for this movie. With that out of the way, I love this movie. Loved it. Was on the edge of my seat. I actually have a note here about my actual movie theater experience because I just want to talk about that later. But I've been looking forward to this. My friend introduced me to the John Wick films, and I was like, I've heard about them. What are they about? And watched them all with my parents. I went to see this in the theater with my parents, and I have things at the end that I'll talk about a little bit later. But I was like, do you want to go see this? And he's like, no, I'll go see it with my friend. My friend, he's like, no, I'll go see it with my mom and grandpa. I was like, okay, cool. I don't know how his grandpa was going to see this movie, but they like the movies. And if he likes the film, sure. And I saw this with my parents and had a blast. I mean, this is a film worth seeing in the theater. The first three movies are a blast to watch. But what did I think of this one? Let's get to it. And the soundtrack done by Tyler Bates and Joel J. something. I missed it. It flew by. But there were two people that did this, and I specifically wrote down Tyler Bates because he's the main factor of who does the score, who composes this music in this movie, and he's a great person. He probably would be in my top 10 if I had to think about it. Like, there's so many great composers out there. I've thought about who might be. I've wanted to make a top 10 composers video, but that may come like a long time from now. But he might be in there. He might be in there. What he does with this movie is incredible. I think this is, again, I love this movie. This might be the best of the franchise. I'll just say that right now. I'll get to the end. This is my favorite of the franchise. And he does so many good things with this movie. Additionally, before I forget, the song, the Painted Black song, done by the Rolling Stones, which has now been done by in Wednesday, a cello rendition in Wednesday. They did it in Black Adam, and now they've done it in this. And I love that song. They did it in the Inhuman show. That was terrible, but that was like the first thing they tried to like paint it black rendition in, and then they put it in this movie, and I loved it. I love the specific style the artist made. I love the scene that they put it in. And it just made it even better, which when I get to the third act, I'll talk about a little bit more about that. But this tour with the songs and what Tyler Bates brings to the certain fight moments, good stuff. Good job, Tyler Bates. The characters in this movie are the best. I mean, every John Wick movie has a great cast of characters, but I think this one brings it a little bit just higher up. So does everything in this movie. It just brings it to the next level. And where you see like the first movie, I think maybe the first and second movie, I can't recall. I haven't seen. I watched the third movie a week before I saw Chapter 4. But the first two movies have John Leguizamo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, but it's the guy that played Luigi in like the 1993 Mario's movie, who's been in other various action movies. He was just in The Menu recently. He was in He was in that Violent Night movie with Santa Claus, Jim Halpert, from Stranger Things. Jim Halpert, no, that was The Office. John Hopper from Stranger Things. And he's not in this one, but he's a great guy. He plays in the first movie, and then we have different casts. We have Ian McShane back in this one. We have Bill Skarsgård is a great villain in this one, and Donnie Yen plays a blind assassin who's actually a blind Jedi in Rogue One. Good stuff here, and I just loving this cast of characters when they work together with one another, especially the combo of Ian McShane, the dad or the manager of the concierge or the hotel, and then we get Lance Reddick doing some talking again, some what's that called, dialogue together. And then we have Bill Skarsgård comes into the mix, and he is just, right from his first scene, he is just intimidating, and a guy you don't want to mess with right off the bat. So it's a great character. And then we see introduced to Donnie Yen, and the other, man, I'm forgetting the other actor's name. I probably should have looked this up on my phone right here, but what am I doing? The other Chinese guy, the other assassin that they work with, the other manager at the concierge, the other hotel, and that has his daughter. And when we get into that scene, when they're talking about like all the marquees and all this, the whole hotel thing. By the way, there's spoilers in this video because they blow up the first hotel, and it totally shocked me. I was like, whoa. They have an hour to get out of the hotel. They blow it up, and then they're talking about how John Wick is still on the run from all these assassins. When John Wick kills the highest member of the high table, like, yeah, you can take me out, but this isn't going to stop anything. And now he has to kill all the higher managers of the high table, because there's so many of these hotels throughout the world. He finally he gets to this one where I think it was in, I can't remember where it was in, because then he goes to Paris, but I think it was in China somewhere, and I believe it was in China. Don't correct me on that, but he goes there and he like makes a friend again. He makes a friend and he has a little like drink with the guy, and then their hotel is invaded by invaders. That's not really the right word I'm looking for, but they're invaded by the assassins that come in, the bad guys that are with Bill Skarsgård's character and Donnie Yen, who's on their side, who's kind of evil at this point. He used to be a friend of John Wick, which is addressed later in the movie. And then this whole fight scene takes place. Like, again, the whole movie, like, it starts off like with a great fight scene. Like, there's action that never stops. But there's a good story. There's a good premise. Like, they have to go through this whole hotel thing. They have to explain more about the marquee and the hotels and the higher ups at the high table that are factored into this movie and that come after each other. But what I love, I rewatched the third one, and I think that the first two kind of do this. Like, the first one's perfect. All of them are great. But then the second one kind of lost me a little bit. Like they just kind of redo the first movie. It's like, okay, wait, really? Why are you telling me what I just watched? And then the third one, I think, as I rewatched it, it doesn't lose me like where it loses some people, because I think it does a great job at combining the action along with the story. But some people are just like, this is getting too out of hand. This is getting too out of control. But I think this one, even though it's very long, it keeps the action with the story, with the characters all meshed together, and it does it in a nice job. So, I'm kind of like getting to my end thoughts in the middle, but I love the characters. The story I'm kind of mentioning right now, it's beautiful. It's just one of those. Since the first one, I think it does the story even better in a longer format, done like with the fight scenes spread out so long. And like I was mentioning, the fight scene, I think the first fight scene, but besides the one in the first act, or like the first, there's no really fight scene. There's like a couple shots that take place on the horses. The horses, I love that moment. I mean, you just get right into it. And then, like, say 30 minutes or maybe in the 45 minutes in the movie or some point, I didn't take a time limit, just kept checking my phone. Like, okay, when is this taking place? So you get to the assassins, the bad guys. The high table kind of comes in. I don't really know if they're the high table, but they come in. And in the Chinese concierge, and they take out a bunch of people with bow and arrows and all these things. You see all these people line up. It is insane. They turn off all the lights, and it's like green, like it's glowing in the dark. It's incredible. This like goes on for like 10, 15 minutes. It's non-stop. And then you see these like sumo guys. You see Donnie Yen. Yeah, these sumo guys just have a little moment to fight, a little bit of action. And then you get Donnie Yen. Love this moment because he's a blind fighter. And you see him like doing all these techniques like with these. I almost thought they were like bombs, but he puts them on and they're like little hearing devices so you can tell when a person's walking by and it makes a little sound. So technique is incredible. Love his fighting style. We get the other guy doing some fights with the girl's dad, doing some fights with a sword. I believe, does he die? I don't remember if he dies or not. But then we see John Wick and the daughter doing some fights outside of it with like these brick walls, or not even brick walls, like there's these like concrete walls exploding and everything. It's incredible, the fight choreography going on. And the daughter actually does this, you see in the trailer, like does this stabbing thing up the stairs. amazing. And then, so there's some fight scenes at the end I want to get to later. I mean, I want to get to at the end because like the whole like last 40 minutes of this film is like the third act is amazing. So there's two things I want to talk about. My theater experience was insane. This was one of my favorite movies I've been to in a while. Like again, it's my favorite of the franchise. It's one of my favorite action films I've ever seen in a long time. It beats out like Mission Impossible. It beats out like I've not seen Die Hard, but some people would be like this has to beat out Die Hard. This has to beat out oh my god, that other one. Not Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like this film is just amazing. There's great actors in films, but this is one beats them out. Like if this one comes out on streaming, I'm putting this on repeatedly. And the theater experience was the best I've had in a while. The film, the audience was packed. They were laughing at certain moments because of maybe a certain joke. It's not a comedy, but there was like something that was funny. Something the reactions towards the movie, like certain action scenes. People were laughing. People were just reacting. I was reacting at certain moments, which I'll talk to later in the third act. And more importantly, because these characters are incredible, because there's so much stuff going on, there's so much action, so much bonkersness. John Wick just can't, like, he falls down a building at the end of the third one. It's like, how is he still alive at this point? And furthermore, there's always in every movie a casino scene, some sort of dancing, some sort of like bar, club, whatever's going on in this world of John Wick. And you see another club, another Casino Royale, and it's kind of like that at this point. And you see John Wick in there with Scott Adkins, another great actor with all this makeup. He looks like the Penguin. Like, what's up with in Elvis? Like that, Tom Hanks looks like the Penguin. You got Brendan Fraser. The makeup kind of looks like the Penguin, and we got the actual Penguin and the Batman. And now we have Scott Adkins looking like the Batman of the Penguin. It's like, what the heck is happening? It's like, this is almost the Batman. We're just in the Batman Club. We're in the Iceberg Lounge. Like, what's going on here? No, it wasn't. Maybe it could have been. I don't know. And then we see Scott Adkins in doing this whole thing, this whole monologue, speech type thing. Like, okay, you want to kill this guy? He wants to kill you. Oh, by the way, there was this other guy that comes in. Well, I'll talk about him later, maybe in the third act. So we see Scott Adkins, and then we have this whole fight in the casino, but people are still dancing. They don't even care that there's like shootout, a brawl, fights happening. They just continue dancing. It's like, in all three films, you just don't even care. And finally, I almost said Bruce Willis. There's no Bruce Willis in this film. Keanu Reeves, John Wick, defeats Scott Adkins in a very brutal way. And I'm not going to mention how, in case you haven't seen it yet. A very brutal way. And then he gets away. He goes away. And it's incredible because this casino, there's like waterfalls and everything, so you're fighting in this water, and it's gorgeous. The cinematography in this film's gorgeous. If this film doesn't win an Oscar like for cinematography, I'll be mad. But it's gorgeous. The fight scenes are incredible, like that casino dancing scene. And alright, so let me move ahead here. So for the third act of the film, there's a moment where, or there's this guy in the entire movie, when you get into the Chinese concierge, there's this guy with a dog. The best dog in any John Wick movie. And he's going after John Wick for the bounty. And I think this guy, he's a side character, but he's not, like, completely irrelevant. But by the end of the film, I was kind of wondering, like, okay, what was the point of this character? Because I wasn't completely sure if they're going to, A, use him again, B, if they take the character out, did he really serve a purpose? Or was he like a friend at this point? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I forget the character's name and the actor's name. I think I tried to see what else he was in. I didn't know what else he was in. But the guy with the dog, that may help you if you don't know who I'm talking about. I'm sorry. He reminded me of the guy who was in Aquaman, who played Black Manta, who was also in the movie Ambulance, who was also in the movie Tenet, with the Batman actor, Robert Pattinson. But it was not him, it was somebody else that looked a lot like him. Sorry, that wasn't him. And this whole third act, there's this great moment where, with the dog especially, the dog just has these brutal kills, which is like, yes, the dog action. And then you get Well, the dog, I think, does some stuff earlier in the film and then later in the film as well. But then there's, for like the first 10 minutes of the third act, like you start out 40 minutes. I think like the third movie started, like the third final battle started like 40 minutes in. I don't remember. But this, I checked my phone. I'm like, okay, how much time is left? There's like 40 minutes left. I'm like, man, this is going to be awesome. And it was awesome. The whole film was awesome. But the last 40 minutes, I could watch again. I was talking about the fight scene and the Chinese concierge. That fight scene was awesome, like 10, 15 minutes. And then we get later this incredible end scene where probably 10 minutes are this car chase scene of John Wick, like we played the Paint It Black song, and he's just like, boom, 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 gets in the car, takes it out, boom, boom, boom. He like rear ends all the time, and then he has both sides, both doors fling off, and then he's just shooting everybody in the sides. It's like, oh my god, this is awesome. And he's just doing like turnarounds, like he's, I forget where he is, he's in Paris, right? So you see the Eiffel Tower, and he's just going around in circles, and it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. And the choreography, the shots, the moments is so gorgeous and well done. It's like anything I've ever seen before, and anything, and I've seen so many films, like I've seen Mission Impossible. I'm not the biggest James Bond fan, don't take that the wrong way, but even people that watch James Bond and all this stuff, it's like, it's better than that. Come on. So you're watching it, it goes on for like 10 minutes, and then you have this moment where John Wick and the guy that are, the dog, are in this building, and it's like maybe like a minute, maybe longer, maybe shorter, I don't remember how long it is. It's maybe a minute, a little bit longer. You see from this top view, like a drone view, where John Wick is just going around with this gun, where you see these enemies, you see these people, like assassins, take their weapons and like have this explosive gun. I forget what it was called, like flamethrower or something, one or another. And you take him, and he's just exploding everybody from up view in this building, and the set looks incredible, and it's like almost like a video game style. You just see him crouching down. It's one of the best things ever I've seen in any type of movie, especially for John Wick, and it just is one of the best things ever. I can't even say how good it is. For like that goes on for a little while, and then you just see some more action shots with the dog getting some gruesome kills. In the background, you see this like dark screen, and this guy's just looking like what's that? Creepy. And then the dog just comes out. Oh, so good. And then the next like 10 or so minutes is John Wick and Donnie Yen, or before Donnie Yen comes in, John Wick trying to kill these guys up hundreds of stairs. And then he's constantly like fighting, and then he falls down a bunch of stairs. It's like people dying, and then John Wick falls down multiple stairs. It's like, how is he not dead? By the way, in the casino scene, John Wick falls down like ledges. It's like, he should be dead at this point, but he's not. He just falls down that. He falls down at the casino. He falls down a bunch of stairs. He's still up and going. No scratches. It's incredible. I love this. I mean, I'm not always an action guy. Like, there has to be a story involved, but it makes sense. Everything narratively makes sense. The fight scenes are great. This is an action movie masterpiece. And then when Donnie Yen comes in the mix, it's like, you have to go. Oh, how did I forget this? But Clancy Brown is in the movie. Forgot to mention that Clancy Brown is in this movie as well. He's an assistant to Bill Skarsgård. And he's talking like, he's like, John Wick, I guess, won't be joining us. Like Clancy Brown, I guess John Wick won't be joining us. I don't know how to do Clancy Brown, but I'm Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs, they had no Mr. Krabs in this movie. But yeah, and he's like, John Wick won't be joining us at the table, like, because Bill Skarsgård and with Donnie Yen and John Wick are going to fight off, because Bill Skarsgård is terrifying as always, and he's like, hey, you guys got to make a duel. So they're gonna fight off. Kane is Donnie Yen's name, and they have a little duel once they get up the stairs and kill everybody. And so they finish everybody, kill everybody on the stairs, then go up and have a little duel. And in the process of having that duel, they have 3 shots to take them out. So it's kind of like good, bad, the ugly, right? The good and the bad and the ugly. Like, they back up 30 paces and they shoot. I think they hit each other, like one on the shoulder, one on the leg. They take 10 steps forward, and then they shoot each other again. They hit each other, some like in the thigh or something, and then they move up again 10 paces. And you see Donnie Yen shoot. He goes fire. They say fire every time. Clancy Brown does, and they shoot. You see Donnie Yen shoot, and I'm like, did John Wick shoot? And then Bill Skarsgård comes up and is like, to Kane, to Donnie Yen, it's like, all right, now I want to use this bullet. And he's going to shoot John Wick. And he's like, nope. John Wick's like, nope, I didn't shoot. So he shoots Bill Skarsgård in the head. It's like, I was like, yes. I was like, I know he didn't shoot the bullet, because if he shot the bullet, he would have shot him. He would have had a target. Like, Donnie Yen would have been hit. Like, I don't believe John Wick ever misses. If he does, I apologize. But I was like, yes, he got him. He shot him. Yeah, so Bill Skarsgård was out. And I'm going to have a major spoiler right here in the third act finale. So we see him, and the manager does take up the concierge yet again. And then John Wick walks down the stairs. He's reunited. He laughs. Everybody, the guy with the dog laughs, chuckles about what happened there. And then John Wick walks down these stairs, and sees his wife, thinks of his wife, and then leans over, and that's the end of John Wick. So that, and then you see the man, I can't ever think of his name. John Wick's grave, and next to his wife's grave, Helen Wick, and it says loving wife and loving husband, because earlier in the film you see the manager Ian McShane with Lawrence Fishburne saying, "What do you want on your tombstone?" And he says, if I talking about what somebody else had in his tombstone, because Lance Reddick, the guy who died in real life shortly after they made this film, dies in the movie, dies by Bill Skarsgård. In like the first scene, when he says Bill Skarsgård's like, okay, boom, one of you has to die. So they kill Lance Reddick in this film, and he goes. You don't see the grave of Lance Reddick, but when Ian McShane says, I didn't know what to put on his tombstone, the guy that plays Lance Reddick, the character of Lance Reddick, he's like, so I put friend. How can you sum up a guy's life or a person's life in so many words, in a few words? And John Wick said, I want mine to say loving husband. So they put that on there, and you just see that last shot of the movie, and then it goes, and then Lawrence Fishburne is talking to Ian McShane, and then that's how the movie ends. And then Ian McShane puts his hand on the tombstone and says, farewell, my son. And that's how the movie ends. And then you get this great song, Eye for an Eye, that plays, a little rock song by I think one of the actresses in the movie. And then you get an end credit scene at the very end. There's nothing in the middle. There's after the little fancy credits, and then the scrolling credits, and then you get an end credit scene with Donnie Yen, the blind guy, back, and you see his daughter. He goes up with his daughter. You see his daughter playing the violin. He has some flowers for her. And then you get the daughter of the Chinese guy who was in the Chinese concierge, the assassin guy, his daughter, comes back and pulls out a knife. So that's how the movie ends, and that's what the end credit scene is. I'm quite interested to see what's going on here, because I walked out of this movie before I get my final rating of this film. I was walking out with my parents, and we're like, so he's gone now. Thought there was going to be a John Wick 5. But I think this is my theory. Either they're going to use a John Wick 5 with Donnie Yen, how can they call a film John Wick 5 without John Wick? Or they're doing a spin-off movie with the ballerina, with Ana de Armas. Aren't they doing that? Or did that get canceled? I don't remember. But either way, I still love this franchise. If you haven't seen either movie, by the way, they're making a new movie called Sishu, done with the director or done by the people of John Wick, along with, it's like this gold miner goes crazy on some Nazis, blowing up and just killing people. That looks fun. And then the movie Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, which is like with Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. It's like this hitman shoot 'em up film, kind of like John Wick, and people are saying, oh yeah, it's in the same universe, they're going to do a movie. I doubt it, but that movie's, I think, done by John Wick people as well. So is Violent Night, done by the John Wick people. So there's a bunch of movies like this. It's awesome. Like Bullet Train, I think, wasn't people like John Wick, or Deadpool 2 or something, I don't remember. But anyway, this film, again, like Bullet Train was great, but it didn't have something about it. Like, this film is amazing. So for me, this film is a 10 out of 10, and I don't want to make it seem like see, I almost should do 9.5, but at this point, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I gave it a 5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes. So I gave it a must. I gave it a so fresh must see, and because there's no reason why you shouldn't see this. See this in theaters, guys. There's no reason why you're missing out. If you'd be missing out, I mean, I can't stop talking about this film because like the first three films, I'm not like oh yeah, I gotta talk about this consistently. I mean, you can. I think they're great. I would watch them over and over again, but this one is over. I would watch this one over and over and over again. The movie ends on a little bit of a sad note. I'm curious to see what they're going to do next. If they're doing a spin-off movie, if they're doing an actual John Wick 5. But this film was a great way to conclude his life. Which I had no idea they were going to do. I'm glad I didn't get spoiled on that front. The only thing I watched was the end credits scene before I saw the movie, so I'm like, whatever. If I really had been spoiled, like say it was his tombstone in the end credit scene. But anywho, don't let me know what you thought of the film. Did you like it as much as me? Again, I would say it was a 10 out of 10 because I just had a blast at the theaters. Like I forget what I mentioned last week when I said my D&D. I think wasn't that like 9.5 out of 10. It might have been. But this one definitely is a 10 out of 10. I rarely say, I mean, this has to be a 10 out of 10. Because if I give it a lower rating and people are like, why didn't you give it a 10 out of 10? I'm like, oh, okay, then I'll change it. But no, I'm keeping it there. I know I'm still like I'm a biased channel, but now I'm trying to fluctuate my rating. So anyway, 10 out of 10. Don't forget to leave that like button, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel like we do 11. Tell me what you thought of the film. Have you seen it yet? Are you going to see it? Are you hyped like me? Are you not seeing it at all? And why? Let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts are on John Wick 4 and your plans on seeing the movie or not. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow me at Boba Fett Jedi Master, links down below. And you can now actually check out my Twitter and Facebook if you'd like. I'll mention that as well. It's now on my channel. It's now on the channel dashboard. Put it on there, and I'm kind of trying to use it. I'm trying to be more on other platforms as well. New places I'm trying to get onto because I don't like Snapchat or TikTok. Ugh. So, just one of my thoughts on that. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow me on just anywhere else you can, and click some stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me. Don't forget to keep calm, play Lego. Peace. See you guys in the next review and videos. Peace out. Bye, everyone.